Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Pokemon News. This is Mango Oblivion Plays, and we've got the first batch of fall events happening in the Pokemon world right here on the channel. So, check out what's going on and learn all about what's happening in the Pokemon world starting in September. First off, let's talk about Pokemon Sleep and its latest event involving Suicune. Suicune is the final legendary beast to debut in Pokemon Sleep, and it started this week on Monday the 2nd. In the first week, Suicune will be available on Greengrass Isle, and on week 2, it'll expand to Siam Beach and Lapis Lakeside. Just like the other two legendary beasts, you're going to be collecting Suicune Mane that you can then trade in for Suicune Incense and other different items that you can utilize to capture Suicune. If you haven't yet, you might want to get a Master Cookie, because Master Cookie will automatically capture Suicune, so you can get it without having to worry about getting too many of the incenses. That's how I have gotten the last two legendary beasts, and it's a pretty effective method. You've got 2 weeks to get Suicune, so if you're playing the game, get your water Pokemon out and get after it. Moving on to Pokemon Go, the latest season will be starting today, September 3rd at 10 a.m. Max Out is the latest season, and it starts, like I said, today at 10 a.m. This season's going to focus on Galar and the Dynamax phenomenon, and Galarian Pokemon like the starters, and then more Morpeko, which was shown off at the World Championships, are going to be debuting during this season that runs until December 3rd. There are a lot of new Pokemon that will be debuting right away in this season. All three Galarian starters, so Grookey, Scorbunny, and Sobble will be debuting, as well as the pseudo-legendary from Galar, Dreepy. Skwovet and Wooloo, which were released almost a year ago at this point, will finally be getting their shinies added to the game, so you can get shiny Skwovet and Wooloo starting on the 3rd. And then Stonejourner, for those of us who play in the UK, will be available there. If anybody's going on a vacation and wants to trade me one, I'd love that. That'd be great. The new feature in this season is going to be the Dynamax feature, and it will be implemented starting the 3rd. You're going to have to collect max particles to enter Dynamax battles, and you can do that by walking around to power spots, which are just going to be new locations on the map that are similar to gyms, but they're not going to be taking up new spaces. So it's not going to replace gyms and Pokestops. They're going to be new spots on the map. Up to 4 different people can battle at power spots, but you do not need to have 4 people to battle at them. So if you want to try to do it yourself, you can absolutely do that and be successful. Only Pokemon caught there are going to be able to Dynamax. So if you have like a Bulbasaur or some other Pokemon that you've caught in the past that they say is going to be able to Dynamax, that Pokemon will not be able to Dynamax now. You're going to have to catch it at a power spot. And they said that they're going to be introducing Pokemon one at a time. Another important feature of this is that once you catch a Pokemon with the Dynamax factor, that Pokemon, when it evolves, will also be able to Dynamax. So if you catch Bulbasaur and you evolve it up to Venusaur, Venusaur will be able to Dynamax as well. When you're in a Dynamax battle, there'll be 3 battle options. There'll be Max Guard, which will be like a shield to defend against attacks, a Max Move, so I'm assuming it's going to be the elemental moves that you can get in Sword and Shield, so like the Bulbasaur will use the grass one, Charmander will use the fire one, etc. And then Max Spirit, which is a healing move that you can use. And then you'll be given a certain amount of Premier Balls to catch the Dynamax Pokemon afterwards, just like in a raid. Let's move on to Scarlet and Violet, which has its latest 7-star raid coming up this next weekend. Incineroar is going to be the next Mightiest Mark target, and it's going to be a Dark type. Like all the other Mightiest Mark Pokemon, they will be coming with their hidden ability, so Incineroar will have Intimidate, and it has a lot of potential great attacks and setup options for this raid. Attack-wise, it has diverse moves like Knock Off or Snarl, Flare Blitz, Close Combat, Earthquake, and Thunder Punch. It also learns Bug-type move like U-Turn, a bunch of stuff. There's lots of attack options that Incineroar gets. And then it also has great setup moves in Bulk Up, Sunny Day, Taunt, It even has access to Swords Dance, so there's lots of ways that this could be a pretty troubling raid if they really wanted to make it a challenge. Before really knowing what this Incineroar is going to be like, I got two builds that could potentially be useful against Incineroar. This first one is going to be harder to do if you don't have access to Galarian Zapdos, but if you have Galarian Zapdos and you can give it the fighting type, give it a Shell Bell, and make sure it has its hidden Defiant nature, you could then use that. If you give it Rain Dance to weaken its fire type moves, Bulk Up to increase its stats, Focus Energy to increase its crit chance, and then Thunderous Kick, its signature move, to do damage, you're going to do pretty well with a Shell Bell attached. That is, of course, before knowing what its build is going to be like, but this is a solid counter to that Incineroar if you're trying to prepare ahead of time. A second option that will be a lot easier for you to set up since the game's been out for so long is Iron Hands. This one you're going to want to set up just a little bit differently than probably what you've set it up for in the past. You're going to be giving it the Expert Belt, and then you're going to be giving it Iron Defense and Swords Dance, as well as Focus Energy and Drain Punch to try to get the maximum damage out of your Iron Hands. Also in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Ranked Battle Regulation H has begun. And in this regulation set, there are no Paradox or Legendary Pokemon. So a lot of the Pokemon that really shined at the beginning of the Scarlet and Violet era, like Farigiraf, Armarouge, and DD, Tatsugiri, and Dondozo, are really going to have another chance to shine in this regulation set, as well as newer Pokemon to Scarlet and Violet, like Incineroar and Rillaboom, Pokemon that were really successful in Regulation G, probably going to have a lot of success in Regulation H now that a lot of those really tough counters aren't going to be in there. So a lot of teams featuring those Pokemon, I assume. Finally, some news from the Pokemon trading card game. The Stellar Crown set is coming out September 13th, so it is currently in pre-release format at your local card shop. So if you go to your game store and you get into a pre-release event, you can build a 40-card deck, get one of these awesome promo cards, and then battle and win prizes. I went to one this past weekend, which was a lot of fun. Got a lot of packs, got some cool cards. There's a video on the channel if you want to see what I got and kind of look at the deck I used in that pre-release format. So before September 13th, see if you can't get into one of those. Get some of these Stellar Crown cards early. The big thing that's being added in this set is terrestrial Pokemon. These cards have the Terra rule as usual, but then they have these special attacks that require 3 energy types. You can see here on Terrapagos EX, its Crown Opal attack requires a Grass, a Water, and an Electric. So they're going to have incredibly powerful attacks, but they're also going to be very difficult to pull off unless you can get all these energy types on there. There are going to be a lot of new stadium, trainer, and item cards that are going to be useful for these Pokemon, though, and help you get those multiple energy types on. For example, one of the new support cards is Crispin, and Crispin is going to allow you to get 2 different energy types from your deck, put one onto a Pokemon, and put the other in your hand. So if you play that first, you can get 2 of the 3 energy types just from Crispin in one turn. So lots of ways to work with these new terrestrial Pokemon. They also have these really sweet rainbow borders, which I'm pretty excited about. They look really cool. That's all the big stuff happening in the Pokemon world just to start off September. But of course, each week is a new week in the Pokemon world. So when we have more news, we will let you know. This has been Mango Oblivion Plays, and thanks for watching. See you soon, trainers.